We are in a world today where the larger the economy, the better off. And, countries are coming together. In North America, we have NAFTA. In Europe, they have the European Union. And by saying no to Turkey, they have to go somewhere else. If you want to be part of a larger economy, well, in a way, so what are we doing?
They haven't. It's not a done or undone deal yet.
I know, but
the process is very slow. The process is slow because there really is that fear of how the European Union's nature will change if an Islamic country joined that. I think a lot will depend. Turkey, like any other, in many cases, how we have seen sometimes that we have to say, well, we have to work twice as hard as the next person. It is that kind of discrimination that is taking place. Perhaps Turkey has to prove twice the compliance with the human rights, with IMF, with the economic reforms and all that. Eventually, I think Turkey will join European Union, but the process is slow, and the reason for that is very obvious.
I know, but I personally feel it will be a great example to show there is no this clash of civilization, there is no, let's get going. And it's not just words where, we're saying that, the West is trying to spread democracy and, well, here's a case where we do have a democracy, and yet the military is interfering to impose their own thoughts rather than encourage this democracy, listen to the will of the people. And so, I look at this and I say this is a great debate, a great things to watch, to see how we can bring the civilizations together, or how we can break these bridges and between the East and the West. We have to go for a break, but inshallah we'll discuss more when we come back. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Spirit of Islam. We are reflecting today on the elections in Turkey. And more important for me, I watch the news and some of them say there's 100,000 people or up to 1 million walking the streets saying they don't want an Islamic government. And I want to reflect, why would a Muslim, which is part of our religion, to say I want Islam, is standing up and saying I don't want an Islamic government? I don't want to criticize anybody, but I really want to understand why this is happening. Is it really a misunderstanding of Islam, or what is it that makes a Muslim, regardless, say this? My guest today is Shahid Akhtar, and he's helping me understand these issues. What's your feeling? What is it that makes somebody say no to Islam, even though he's a Muslim?
I don't know if it is making them say no to Islam per se. None of them, at least the way I have seen it, is going and renouncing Islam as if they are not Muslims. What they're saying is, or at least what they were saying in those demonstrations which you talked about, where it was seen as if there are 1 million people with red flags marching, whatever the number. What they were saying was, they were saying no to a government, to a party which they thought, which they were afraid may impose a system on them which may require them to do certain things regardless whether they want to do it or not. Islam does not impose anything. Like Rahafiddin, you have heard it many times. There is no compulsion in Islam. So the moment somebody feels that they're going to be compelled to do something, they rebel against it, particularly if they have had 70, 80 years of a rule which was almost purely secularistic. Now here is something interesting. At the same time, reverse is also happening. And that, I think, goes a great deal to the democratic nature of Turkey. What happened in these elections, that a strange phenomenon took place, which was religious feminism, where women came forward and they said, well, nobody has a right to deny us being practicing Muslims in a way that we want to. So it is not that Muslims are saying that we are not Muslims. I think both things are happening side by side, but they're happening in a way.
A while ago, I was watching a show on TV, and I don't know if it still happens now. It said a young lady could not go to university there if she's wearing a hijab. That was maybe 10 years ago or something. I don't know if it's still true. But, in a democracy, you should allow people to express themselves without being afraid.
I think, again, that goes to that matter of hijab, where it is allowed, where it's not allowed. when the government makes these laws,
Yes.
they make these laws taking into consideration that the institutions that their form of constitution represents, they are not in any way felt as if they're being violated.
Yeah.
Now, it's true that at one time young Muslim women could not go to university, but it was in that institution. It was not that they could not go out in their in the streets or in the families and all that.
Yeah.
It is the same thing that sometime a workplace would have restrictions.
Yes.
So let's not expand it in a way as if there is the entire prohibition on how a Muslim can practice their religion or not. Certainly there may be institutions which, because of one consideration or the other, workplace, universities and all that, they may say that you can, this is the dress code, abide by that dress code. It's like a uniform.